Happy Feature
Podcast.
Race abolished. You're walking down the street. People say hello. People open the door for you. You're able to go to school and make friends very easily. You're able to find jobs. And people who don't know you, they accept you and treat you fairly. You're here with Cosmo, commonly known as Cosmosis, on the Happy Future Podcast. Today we're discussing race abolished. Yeah, can't play the race card because there is no race. It's abolished. Kaput. Vamoose. It's gone. It's out of there. Yeah, let's talk about this. So, we're going to get rid of race. We're going to abolish it. Similar to slavery. Supposedly it was abolished. And we have to decide what does it mean for race to be abolished? You know, slavery being abolished in the US and primarily in Europe had to do with removing it from law, removing it as an accepted use in society. Now, if we're going to do that for race, it has to be removed from law. It has to be removed as a cultural aspect of society. You know, what will happen if race is abolished? One can assume that competition will increase. The whole point of race is classism. If you put one group on one side of the social economic stratosphere and you put another group on the other side, and you say this group, you get this X amount of apples, this other group, you get one apple, that's race. Now, people have discussed race for many years, and they've tried to rationalize its usage. But honestly, there is no usage for race. Oh, well, how can we define someone, where they're from, their culture? Well, they have definitions for that. Someone's ethnicity, nationality. Well, how do I know where they're from? You can look at their facial features. You can look at the way they speak and determine where they're from. Or you can just ask them. You can ask them. The only reason race needs to be abolished is because it has harmful effects. There's nothing positive about race. Well, they have our favorite shows about some racial aspect. Is that actually good? Well, let's determine if race makes sense. If you take someone from South Africa, they've been living there all their life. They were born there. But they have very, very light shade of skin. Very light, not so much pigment. They have very, very light shade of skin. Which race are they? Crickets. Who knows what race they are? But it's very harmful. So let's think about this. They have this idea of race is based on physical characteristics, primarily physical characteristics. They tried to say it has to do with, some common shared cultural characteristics, but really it's about, the social status and your economic status. So this ideal of race that was promulgated came on the back of slavery from Europe to the US. Now, they did have a form of race based in Europe where they attacked the Irish and it kind of bled over into the Holocaust. Same ideal, same problem, still got to abolish race. Now, if we're talking about people as colors, let's talk about the colors. What are the colors based off? They're based off the light spectrum. You know, they have the primary colors. What is the primary colors? Red, yellow, blue? Are those the primary colors? I hope I got it right. So if those are the primary colors, then you can basically take the light, all the light from those colors, and you got black. Now, if you add light into all of those colors, then you got white. The paradoxical thing is, if you take someone who's lived in Africa for a long time and they absorb the sun, then supposedly they're black. They have darker pigment, darker skin. If you take someone from a northern hemisphere in a very cold climate without so much sun, they have light shade of skin, light pigment. They're white. It's paradoxical. It goes against the whole color spectrum. It's a confusing concept. But if we remove race, it's abolished, what happens? Competition increases. Because the whole ideal race was based on classism. Classism. There were a few groups that wanted to basically demonize another group so they can use them for monetary means. There were other groups that opposed it, but they went along with it because it was in their favor. But looking at it from a utopian perspective, it's actually not good for anyone. It's confusing the hell out of people. People are making identities based on how they look. It's like walking down the street, you see a very, very attractive woman, and you automatically think she's nice, or you think she's dumb. You go talk to her, she's appalled by your reaction, because you're basically labeling her, putting her in a group. Or maybe she does the same thing. She sees you, she assumes because you're a man that you're a demon. You're horrible. That's the same thing with race. Grouping people and stereotyping them. If we abolish it, competition's gonna increase. Media's gonna change. People are gonna treat you maybe fairly. Job competition's gonna go up. It's gonna go through the roof. There's gonna be a shift in power all over the world. There's going to be a lot of complaining initially. But you would hope, you would hope and you would wish that it will smooth over. And there will be a lot of technological innovation from removing race from your society. Race has held us back. We focus so much time on our looks. We focus so much energy on our skin color. We could be using this time to develop new products, to make life better, to increase education, and to expose the lies and the social conditioning that we've been put under. We're socially conditioned. Most elite groups throughout the world, they divide and conquer. It's a common strategy. Race is a form of war. It's a tactic to divide you and to confuse you. And it affects the people mostly who are not the victims of the group. It affects them more. Because they are being brainwashed the most. This is a problem. Race doesn't exist. There's no biological connection to race. It's a social invention. Race abolished. Good or bad? What do you think? You're having fun? Ha 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 ha. Happy Future Podcast.